So I'm a board certified psychiatrist and I've helped over 160 PMHNPs gain clinical confidence in their psychiatric diagnosis skills, treatment skills, and actually being able to help patients get better results. And I also help PMHNPs with the business and real world side of things. In this video, we're going to be covering networking, and I'm going to share with you why I believe networking is overrated and how to actually do it right. So this is a common business thing that everyone talks about is, oh yeah, network. And it does have a time and place, but it's hard to do unless you do it right. So when I was starting my private practice out, there's many ways to grow a practice. And the main thing you have to do is you have to be able to get patients in the door to want to see you. I was doing all of this type of networking. I was going out I lived in New York, so I was going out in the city. I was meeting with different groups. Like I was meeting with shelters and substance abuse places. I was meeting with other therapists. I was attending networking events. I spent a good few months doing all of that stuff. And then I was also doing social media on the side. What I realized was that all the patients that were coming in, the vast majority of them found me through social media. So I was like, okay, I'm doing all this networking. Like, this is taking time out of my day. I'm taking time out of night. I got to travel to the city. I have to go get dressed up, attend some kind of event, be social and all that. Then I have to follow up with these networking prospects. I have to maintain this relationship. The main thing they need is patience. But seeing all these people, meeting all these people, yeah, I'm getting lunches and things, but it's not really panning out in terms of payment. So why am I doing this? And it took me a long time to realize that when I was like, okay, I should just double down on my social media. And I did. And now I get the vast majority of my referrals are from online and from social media. And then the rest is just like the patients that I have referring other friends. So that's when I realized that, okay, like people always just told me, network, you got to network, you got to network. But I found that didn't really pan out for me in that regard. So I went to the American Psychiatric Association APA conference last year just as an attendee, just to scope it out, to see what it's like. And I did get a lot of value from it. I realized that there's a lot of opportunities out there. There's all these startups. There's big pharma. There's so many more opportunities rather than just pure clinical medicine. And it opened my eyes up to what's possible for me as a psychiatrist. And like one of the things I realized was that I could become a speaker. You go on doing conference tours. Like that's a very valuable thing. So it opened my eyes up in that regard. But in terms of networking, I met all the different psychiatrists and other people, yet that didn't really help out my business. Like that didn't help me get more referrals for my practice, which is the ultimate thing that I was trying to focus on. Fast forward this year, I have a NP coaching academy where I coach NPs. I was out at APA this year and actually gave a talk on social media and on how practitioners can get confident in social media and break limiting beliefs so that way they can start posting online and being able to generate business, give them freedom, etc. And so from that, what I realized was that now people actually wanted to network with me, but I wasn't presenting on my NP education at the time. I was presenting on social media because I thought I wanted to go in that direction. And so, but then people actually came up to me and they wanted to get to know me. So the main thing that I realized from that is that the number one way to do networking is you have to provide value. You have to be able to give people a valuable reason to get to know you. It's not enough to just show up to an event and network. So becoming a speaker, I realized that, okay, I'm getting a lot more recognition and a lot more connections, inbound connections coming in because I was now giving value and I was being a speaker. So that didn't help me right now for my coaching program, but in the future, I want to do a future program where I teach healthcare providers how to grow on social media and how to make money from it, monetize, so that way they get financial freedom in their lives. But that's a future goal. That didn't help me then. So after that conference, I went to a different conference. And so there I really focused because I saw the potential of becoming a speaker. And so I really focused in on networking with the leadership. I focused on how it could help them grow their social media. And so for me, the value would be that, okay, if I become a speaker for this conference, like a regular speaker, then I can talk about my NP education and I can provide value to NPs. So that way they sign up for my program. That's the value that I saw. But then the value I offered them was that I will help you guys grow on social media and help you grow your brands because I know you want to spread this conference to more and more people. And so they were like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And so we were in talks for a while, but then I just never heard back. So it's been about a month and I haven't heard back. And so what that leads me to realize is that, okay, one is that you can't definitely all put your eggs in one basket either, especially when it comes to networking. It's all about a volume game and how many people you connect with and you see. But then second, it really forced me to evaluate my time and think about, okay, is this something I want to keep doing? Because now you go into that conference, right? Like, it hasn't helped me for my business. Doing this is what will help my business, is being on social media. One of my colleagues just asked me if I'm going to another conference that they're doing in a couple months from now. And so I was like, you know what? No, I don't think so. Because for me, doing this time I spend going to a conference, the expenses, the traveling, the 5 days, I could just spend making more content. And if I could do number one thing to help out my business is to make content. So why would I be trying to focus on networking just for the sake of networking? Because people say networking is good, when if I carefully audit my time, I know that this is more valuable for me. And so if I can go more on social media, build my brand up bigger, then other opportunities will come in for me, inbound leads. So just like at that conference, the APA, I realized that, okay, if I'm giving value, if I'm the speaker, that's when people want to connect with me. But if I don't have value to offer and I'm just going around trying to connect with people, it's not very valuable. It's not going to yield me the results in the long term. So what you need to do in every kind of networking situation is ask yourself, how can I give value? That's the key. So with social media, this is almost a form of networking where I'm giving value to you. My channel is giving value to you. And so then you become more connected to me. And then you say, okay, hey, I think that I learned so much from Dr. Dewan already. I want to join his program, or I want to become a patient in his practice because I think that he can further help me. So that's the same thing with networking. It's not just, if I just went to like door to door, patient to patient, like I'm never going to get any results that way. But you have to figure out, how can you give value? And that's the number one thing I've realized from trying to do all of this networking, is that they felt that I did not have enough value to offer them. Because let's say, imagine if like Obama came up and said, hey, I want to meet with you. With any of these conferences, any of these therapists, like Obama doesn't know shit about psychiatry, but he would be able to present as a keynote speaker at any of these conferences because his value is so high that he can offer them. His brand is so high that they immediately want his, they're immediately going to follow up with him. That's the number one thing by far. And so I'll share examples of how this could be helpful for you. So for example, I was interviewing a Psych NP, and so she said that she grew her private practice by networking with therapists. And so she joined a therapist Facebook group and she networked with them. Why was that so successful for my Psych NP? It was successful for her because for her, the therapist value that they get from her is that they need a prescriber to help out some of their patients. And then the therapist gets value because the Psych NP can in turn refer her clients to the therapist. So it's a win-win relationship that they can have. And that's why she found it so successful. For me, I networked with maybe like a couple therapists, but I was networking everywhere else too. Like I was networking with substance abuse places and residential treatments, and they weren't really offering me any patients. In fact, I was just referring patients to them. So that wasn't going anywhere either, because I realized that they already either they had their own psychiatrists on staff, or they forgot about me, or they didn't perceive my value as high enough to be able to offer that to their patients. So not only can knowing how to give value, but how to convey it. That's what you need to ask yourself as well too. So this can be really helpful for students. So for example, let's say you are a PMHNP student or you're a med student. You do a lot of networking because you are trying to get career opportunities, right? You want to get away rotations, you want to get preceptors, you want to get collaborators, you want to get jobs. And so that's where networking can be helpful. But now the value that you're offering, like let's say someone helps you connect a job. So what are they getting in return? So there you have to understand the value that they're getting is that they are supporting you. So as a student, students get supported from mentors. What they get is that feeling of mentoring. That's why a lot of people become teachers, like they become academic psychiatrists, or they work in some academic institution, or might take on or clients, or like, students, is because they want that feeling of mentorship, right? And so even understanding that as a student, so that's your secret power. Like, so you can become such an excellent student. And if you become an excellent student, whether it's like asking for jobs and things, right? Like, let's say, for example, when I ask for a letter of recommendation to get into med school, these people, they don't get anything from writing the letter other than my success. But then I can give them that feeling that they helped out someone else. So I was very generous. I was thankful. Like, after I got into med school, I wrote handwritten letters for all of my letter writers, right? So that way I'm giving back. For example, letters that I wrote in residency, I always made sure to follow up with them afterwards. So that way I could say, you helped me do X. And so there I'm expressing my gratitude, but I'm also following up and letting them know that, okay, this is how your intervention has helped me, which leads them to feeling that feeling of mentoring, right? And that's still value. So whether it's concrete value that you provide, like, hey, we can help each other like therapists, I'll get you clients, you get me clients, that's concrete, more like discrete value. Or it's this emotional value that you can give to mentors and things. Understanding the kind of value that you can bring is ultimately what's going to help you with networking. That's what I've learned so far. And I've also learned how to, now I need to be very strategic with my time and really choose my time wisely, and not just network for the sake of networking. But if I am networking, then I need to know what I need to get out of that interaction, what my intent and goal is, and what kind of value that I can provide to that other person, so that way they want to network with me. So I hope that's helpful. And if you want to learn real world psychiatry, like, this is the kind of stuff that nobody will teach you. You're not going to find this in any kind of book here on how to do it for the psychiatric provider population. So the best place to get that kind of education is in our PMHNP Coaching Academy, where we've had over 170 students go through so far in the last couple months, and growing. So I would definitely look at joining now before the price jumps up too high. And I will see you in the next video.